Well, hello everyone. Tad Hargrave here from Marketing for Hippies with my dear colleague and friend George Cow. Going to be talking about marketing on LinkedIn. I'm so glad you're here, George, because this is one I just don't know anything about. I have a LinkedIn account, but I only updated the photos maybe this year. And until then, I mean, I've created it, I don't know how long ago, 15, 20 years ago. And the photo was literally a photo of me when I was 20 years old. I just had not updated it since. I haven't done anything with it. It's just sitting there. I put a new photo. I mean, it's
Yeah,
more.
that's a good minimum, you know.
So it's in rough shape, and I know it's every social media has its particular audience, its particular wrinkles,
Yeah.
and so I don't know anything other than I know that I love George. We clients go back and forth between us all the time. I've heard only really wonderful things about people working with George. So
I guess you haven't talked to enough people then.
the, so anyways, I'm happy to have you here, George. I'll just turn it over to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, LinkedIn, what's up with that?
Thanks, man. I thank you for having me, and hello everybody. Great to see you all here. I really enjoy connect, back and forth Q&A type style. So although I can talk for a long time, and I often do in
Mm.
my trainings, but it's like we're here, those of you who are here live, I really appreciate you showing up. So I have put into the Zoom chat below, and I'm assuming that those who are watching this later will have the access to the Zoom chat, or at least this link. It shows you all a diagram that I put together when I taught my LinkedIn course. And I think it's a simple way to kind of think about it. And I'll just kind of share my screen so we can talk through this as a kind of a baseline understanding of it. And then please just jump in with questions. Tad, you're welcome to interrupt me anytime. If you see anything, and any of you feel free to chat below or interrupt me if you want to. So I'll just show you what's going on here on the diagram. So first of all, the circle here on the right side are the ongoing actions. Just like with any marketing, it's not a one-time action that you do, but it's an ongoing iteration, learning, growth, improvement, but before you get to the ongoing actions, you need to first do a couple of things, which I call the first steps here. And the first steps are to figure out who you really want to connect with on LinkedIn. It's not obvious, actually. You might think, well, I want to connect with everybody. It might, well, let's talk about that. Like, really? Because just like with any social media, the algorithm rewards engagement, which means if you're connecting with non-ideal connections, they're not going to engage with your content, and you're not going to engage with theirs. And so that's why LinkedIn doesn't work for so many people. They just connect with everybody. Maybe they even started it when they had a corporate gig, and they still had a bunch of the old corporate connections that aren't relevant to their new business or work anymore. And anyway, so part one is to remove a bunch of people. I know that sounds, you know, uh, maybe surprising for some of you, and it might even sound brutal, like remove people, disconnect. Yes, I want to show you. Let me just share a different part of my screen here. I had thousands of LinkedIn connections, um, thousands of LinkedIn connections. I'm just going to show you part of my course document. This is something that it's one of my products, but I wanted to show you on the screen here. I had 4,500, and this was actually after I removed a couple hundred. I'm like, oh, wait, I should take a screenshot of this. So I had 4,500 first degree LinkedIn connections. Now, what are first degree connections? It's kind of like you have a Facebook friend. You know how Facebook friends, you can only have up to 5,000, right? 5,000 Facebook friends, but you can have unlimited Facebook followers, right? Well, same thing on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can have unlimited first degree connections. I had thousands anyway. And then contacts are just the people that I uploaded that I could potentially connect with. Those aren't connections. And then I was connected to a lot of random people, most of whom I didn't know, including this guy. I literally had a guy I connected with. That was his title. I thought it was kind of funny. Let's keep going here. And then after I removed thousands of people, now I had under 200. Now I have like something like 250. But still, I have far fewer people now. And my experience on LinkedIn is far more enjoyable because I'm connected with the people who actually I want to see their content, and they're much more likely to want to see mine. And not surprisingly, my LinkedIn engagement has gone up in terms of people engaging with my stuff, and me wanting to engage with other people's stuff too has gone up over the past year and a half since I've removed a bunch of connections. But let me go back to that diagram here that I was talking about. So first, clarify your ideal connections. You probably need to remove some people, and then optimize your profile. And when we optimize our profile, we're really thinking of it as an introduction and reminder for our ideal connections. What's the alternative? We're not optimizing our profile as a sales page to strangers. Okay, this is really key because so many people think, oh, LinkedIn profile is the most important part of the LinkedIn usage, and you got to have it be like so charming and persuasive or whatever. And here's the thing: the reality is, just about everyone who's looking at your LinkedIn profile, who are actually going to spend more than 10 seconds, are your connections who are kind of like, oh yeah, let's see what Tad's up to lately, or let's let me see what what Tad is offering. I kind of that's the most. And the people who are potential connections, people who might want to connect with, of course they're going to look at your profile as well, but they are a potential ideal connection. If you've optimized your profile to speak to like your kindred spirits, the people who are most likely to feel like, wow, this is my people, great. Then potential connections are going to say, this is my people, and say, maybe we want to connect. So let me kind of just pause here. And again, you have the diagram in the link below. Yeah. Take a look. Do you have any questions about that? Now, one thing I realized I should clarify is, George, what do you mean by ideal connections? Who are our ideal connections, right? Do I accept connections from everybody, right? So no, the answer is you probably shouldn't accept connections from everyone. And ideal connections, let me just kind of look at my notes here. Basically, ideal connections, we'll start with some easy criteria. You guys are friends or fans of each other. That's pretty simple. So an ideal connection is not, Brene Brown or something like that, where I'm a fan of her, but she's not. She doesn't know me from Adam. I mean, she'll never, not never, but very highly unlikely that she's going to like refer people to me or whatever. She's like stratospheric, right? So we're fans of each other. You're fans. So Tad and I, we're fans of each other. So and we're friends. So like, that's even better, So fans of each other. Okay. Number two is their connections are relevant for you, and ideally vice versa. Now, why is that important? And how do you know who their connections are? So someone's connections if you're already connected with them by first degree. You can actually see who their connections are. So Tad, I hope we're connected by first degree. I'm going to just search for you here. We're not yet connected by first degree. So this is actually an interesting example. So let me actually see here. So we need to be connected to each other. I mean, Tad, if you're going to use LinkedIn at all. But we're going to, okay. So I'm going to Tad's profile here. How do I know who his connections are? Well, first of all, Tad only has 30 connections, so he's keeping it tight. So good job, Tad. We have mutual connections already, and these mutual connections gives me a clue about who Tad's connected to. I like Alex and Jeremy. We're mutual fans. I'm a mutual fans of them. If it's going to be people like Alex and Jeremy that are Tad's connections, I think we're going to be good for each other. And the other way to find out if Tad is, again, Tad's not connected to me. He's second degrees, right? Second degree means he's a friend of a friend on LinkedIn. The other way to find out is by going to see if Tad has posted anything recently and who is liking it, because that gives me a sense of who his connections are. So let's click on see all activity on Tad's profile, and let's click on posts. Well, actually, a couple things. One is if Tad's liking someone else's stuff, that means he's probably connected to, right? Like Tad, you're probably connected with Ari. Now, this was 7 months ago, so it's not very recent, but okay. Best-selling author of whatever. So, probably a relevant connection for me. And Tad also shared this guy, startup coach, business hippie. All right. So probably also a potential connection for me too. To see what I mean. So go to the person's activity. And if you can go to their posts, you can see if Tad has posted anything and who's liking it. So okay, one person liked this. Who's that one person? Okay, Katrina, Earth Warrior, textile recycler, sustainability. So, yeah, share values with me potentially. Four likes, so I can click on who the 4 likes are and see. Now, yeah, so these are some of likely some of other Tad's other connections, and I can then see if these are relevant for me. Now, again, relevant for me means potential clients, potential referral sources. So are these people potential clients and potential referral sources for me? As I look through this, likely yes. So this gives me a good sense that even though Tad and I are not connected, we probably should be. Now, why is it important to say, to kind of vet someone's connections before we connect with them? Here's why. So let's say that Tad and I connect on LinkedIn. Now we're first degree. If and when Tad likes any of my posts, guess what happens? If Tad likes or comments on any of my posts, it is actually shared with his network. This is unusual for social. Okay, like places like Facebook and Instagram, you can like a bunch of stuff and your network probably are not as likely to see it. But on LinkedIn, it's weird. LinkedIn is very much into showing your network what you liked, just even what you liked, not what you and of course what you commented on. It'll show it to your network even more. So you almost have to be careful what you like and comment on LinkedIn, because you think of it as a share. When you like something on LinkedIn, you're essentially sharing to your network that you liked it. And it's very prominent on your profile. I mean, as we saw, when we go to Tad's activity, Tad likes, I mean, you see, I mean, I don't know if Tad meant to share this video, but he's essentially sharing it. So there you go. And now Tad actually shared this. This was a share from Tad. So that made sense. But see, Tad loves this, right? So again, I don't know if Tad meant to share it, but it's not by default shared. So again, Tad likes this, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So let me pause here. Does this making sense thus far? And do you have any questions or any, like, if you were to think, if I could understand this one thing about LinkedIn, what might that one thing be? Or has there something on LinkedIn that's always bothered you or been a curiosity for you? Or why hasn't this worked as well as I'd liked? Anything like that for LinkedIn?
Well, I'll invite people to put questions in the chat. And
Yeah,
so
great.
maybe if we can step back a bit. One thing I'm hearing certainly is it sounds like LinkedIn is the connections we're looking for are what I would call hubs.
Right.
So this is the point of this is a whole hub marketing. You're going for that warm approach. You're trying to find people who are already well connected to, well respected by your ideal clients.
Yes.
And building those relationships. But I'm also curious, is there anything else that you would say, excuse me, it differentiates LinkedIn from, because every Instagram, Facebook, every social media has its own kind of thing. So what would you say is, like, for whom is LinkedIn a really good form of social media? What kinds of entrepreneurs, what kinds of businesses?
Yeah, great questions. Okay, so here's a shortcut. LinkedIn is for you if you know that social media is helpful, is important to kind of get the word out for word of mouth, being top of mind, for net carrying. I call it net carrying instead of networking. Okay. If you believe that social media is useful, but you hate Facebook, then LinkedIn's perfect for you. End of story. Because you might say, well, isn't LinkedIn for people who are wanting to connect with corporate people, professionals, recruiters, HR people, corporate leaders, executives, managers? Not anymore. Not since 5-7 years ago. It's been very widespread. I mean, to everyone, all hippies. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, solely. And I'll answer a question here, a couple of questions here now. But yeah, is that helpful? Like anything else? That's good. Okay. So Jenny says, who should I not connect with? And also, what do I do with people who send me requests? Do I just ignore them? Yeah, great question. So who should you not connect with is anyone who is not, as I described earlier, an ideal connection. Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And this is, well, I don't want to share my screen because I was going to share like who's asking me to connect. But basically, I'm not connecting with anybody who is, kind of primarily in the corporate world. Number one, I mean, that's kind of a quick filter for me, because if they're not actively in business for themselves, their connections are probably don't have that many connections there, or I'm kind of lazy these days. I don't even research their connections anymore. But I think if you want to be thoughtful about it, you should research. I mean, so I think there should be like a first filter for you and a second filter. So maybe the first filter for you might be like values. It might be it might be obvious to you if someone's a potential client, right? Or potential hub, like Tad says. If it's an obvious potential client or potential hub, they pass your first filter. If you want to be thoughtful about it and go and look at their profile and look at who their connections are, that's a good second filter. If they don't even pass your first filter,
Totally.
Ignore. Now, should you click the ignore button? Because when someone asks to connect with you, there are two buttons. There's ignore and there's accept. If they also included a personal message, okay, if they also included a personal message, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen. There's no offense on anybody here. These are all perfectly lovely people. It's just that they're not primarily in business for themselves. That's why I'm not connecting with them. And Tracy is a very nice person who, spoke. I spoke on a call, and then she asked to connect with me. I basically, if someone includes a personal note, which is a good idea. I actually used to say don't include a personal note, and I've changed my thought on that. It's good to include a personal note, and basically this allowed me to easily reply to Tracy as an inbox message, so that Tracy and I are basically now connected through the inbox, through the messaging. We don't have to be connected by first degree. But I basically replied to her and said, hey, Tracy, I didn't say I'm not going to connect with you, because I didn't say anything like that. I just said, hey, Tracy, thanks so much for your interest. And please feel free. This is what I said. I said, please feel free to reach out to me anytime you have any questions, anything I can help with. I didn't say anything about the fact that I didn't connect with her. Do you see what I mean? And I just left it here. And you don't even have to click ignore. Okay. Now, what about Prabha and Carl? Okay, so can I message with them? I didn't do anything. I think I can click on Prabha, and I think I can message her. No, I can't, because I don't have LinkedIn Premium at this time. I actually tried LinkedIn Premium for a year a while ago, and I never used any of the premium features. So I just quit it. So that's another common question. Should I upgrade on LinkedIn? I don't really think so. I mean, as you can see here, there is a benefit of being able to message like a limited number of people for free. I mean, even on the premium, you can only message a limited number. You can only send a limited number of in-mails per month. So I just don't think it's worth it. I think premium is for like recruiters, salespeople, like corporate salespeople. But for those of us who are solopreneurs, and anyway, so that's that. So let me go on to the next question. And again, Tad, interrupt me anytime.
Well, the one thing I was going to say is,
Yeah.
So we're partly looking for people who are hubs
Yes.
for us who could be, promote us to their people. If they liked our post, then it would appear on their feed
Yes.
and this might get traffic to us.
Not
But,
it's not that it's going to be shown to everybody in their connection, but
right,
it's more likely than on Facebook or Instagram.
got it. And then how much of it, because it seems like there's two criteria. When you said we're fans of each other, one is that we're hoping that they're going to like and share and promote our stuff. But then, of course, there's a possibility of us liking, sharing, promoting their stuff.
Sure.
And I'm
Yeah,
curious what that balance is for you. Is it a kind of
totally.
50-50? Is it,
Yeah.
in your mind, is it 90% weighted towards would they be a good hub for me? Or how much of it is would I be a good hub for them? How do you factor that in?
It's a perfectly good question. And I think I think it depends on like where you are in your stage of your business. Tad, I mean, at this stage of your business, it's going to be more weighted towards people being fans of you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? If I'm just starting out in business, I'm not going to have as many fans yet. Obviously, people don't know my work as well. So I'm really connecting more with people that I'm fans of,
Hmm.
who are friendly towards me. Like again, it's not like I could ever connect with Brene Brown because, but if I were just starting out today, I mean, Tad, you're really approachable. I don't know. I mean, you might be like too outside my level if I were starting out today.
Hmm.
But if you were like a year, 2 years ahead of me in business or whatever, let's say you have some a following of like several hundred people, and I have a following of like several dozen, something like that. You see what I mean? And you're approachable, you're friendly towards me, then I think I would want to connect with you because
Hmm.
that way you'll get to know my work a bit more as you see my stuff on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hope that makes sense. Um, okay, so let's continue on. I'm going to answer some other questions here. Maria, thank you for asking how much past experience should I have up there? Oh, great question. Past advice that it should be like a resume, a CV, but based on your ideal connections, I don't think it's the best practice. 100% agree. Should you put up there that you worked at, McDonald's, and you also worked, whatever. I don't know your background, but no, you should only have on your LinkedIn timeline, kind of profile positions, the positions that are relevant to your ideal connections that are not too far fetched based on your current work. That's my recommendation. Because plus, if the fact is, people aren't. I mean, if you're looking for a job, that's a little different. People are like, "What's going on? How come you have a 20-year gap? Like, did you just start working? 5 years ago, 10 years ago?" But most of us here aren't looking for a job. We are, yeah, in business. So that people don't care what you did before your relevant work to them, and people probably aren't even scrolling past that far anyway on your profile. So that helps. Okay, so let's see here. Thanks, Michael, for that comment. Net caring instead of networking. Yeah, I'll just say a little bit about net caring because it is relevant for LinkedIn. You know, networking, as most of us have experienced it being done to us, and maybe we even been taught, is about like trying to be clever and charming so that the other person will do something for us. And some people can do that very successfully, but it's kind of like, hey Tad, how's it going? Like, how's it going in Edmonton there? Oh, by the way, can you promote my next thing?
Totally.
Right? Versus now this is interesting. I mean, even if I'm asking Tad for help, and Tad, you do this well. It's better to go, hey Tad, can you promote my next thing?
Totally.
By the
Yes.
way, by the way, how's it going in Edmonton? What a different feel. I mean,
What man, I just want to underline that.
yeah,
I remember I had a colleague of mine who said, "Hey Tad, it's been a while. Let's catch up." We had like a 45-minute call, but the whole time I was like, why are we on the phone? He never calls me. We're not pals. We're not buddies. And I was like, what is going on? And finally at the end, it was, oh, hey, and here's a business thing that I was thinking about. But I think literally it was oh, hey, as if he'd just thought of it. But of course, that was actually the whole point of his call.
Right.
And so the whole time I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop
Yeah.
because I knew it wasn't. So it is much better
Yeah.
to just say, I would way rather somebody come up and say, Tad, I've got this thing. I think your people would love it. Would you give me just 5 minutes to give you a shameless plug on this? Because I think you're just like, let me pitch you. Let me pitch you. I'd say, all right, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you got? I'd be so happy because the candor, there's nothing hidden. There's no,
Yes.
my friends Decker and Kendra started this project, the Authentic World, and they made a distinction between slimy and creepy because they did a lot of dating stuff. And they said slimy is objectification,
Mm.
but creepy is veiled intention.
Ooh.
There's a hidden agenda.
Right.
That's what makes it creepy. And that's so much networking has that creepy feeling of like, what is up? Because it's like a duck swimming. Nothing's happening above the surface, but under the surface, there's all this. And so you can feel it. You can feel this. Yeah. So anyway, I
Yeah.
just wanted to underline that.
Yeah. Or someone walking up to you with their hands behind their back. You're like,
Oh, wow.
what do you? I mean, unless that's their usual posture. But he's like, what are you carrying back there?
That's a great one. Good one.
And so okay, so net carrying is the simplest way of saying it is you are engaging with people that you genuinely enjoy. I genuinely enjoy Tad. Like I would want to see every success happen. I whatever I can do for Tad, count me in, kind of thing. And so of course, when I see Tad on social media, I'd be like, love, like I mean, it's out of a genuine outpouring of it. And so you have people like that in your life too. And by the way, when I need help, obviously, if Tad can help, I'm like, Tad, can you help me with this? And it's like it's not like, well, hey Tad, I've liked your post 5 times in the last week, so you owe me 5. It's funny because and kind of sad because when I didn't before I knew better, I literally taught that. I literally taught like hey, well, because that's all I knew. Like, oh, you better charm or sweeten up your connections, and then you can ask for the deal. But it's like, wow, I realized, oh, I was being literally calculating. Like, well, how? So people go, well, George, how long should I like and comment on someone's thing before I ask them for something? Now you say, well, maybe something like 3 weeks, or depending on how much you're liking it. It's like, really? Now it's like, okay, let's remove the calculation and let's just go from the heart and just like enjoy somebody, which means you should follow them and look them up and see what they're up to. And the good thing about social media algorithms is if you go to their profile and just start to genuinely enjoy some of their posts, which can mean liking, loving, or commenting or sharing, or whatever's real for you for any piece of content. Social media algorithm will go, oh, okay, you like that stuff. Got it. Next time on the newsfeed, we're just going to show you more of his stuff. So that's a nice way of training the algorithm a little bit. Okay. And then when time comes where you do need some help promoting something or get some feedback on something, you look at your contacts, you look at the people you genuinely like, and you say, well, which of them would make most sense? Which of them would give me the most appropriate piece of feedback? Or which of them has a network of people that would really genuinely enjoy this thing that I'm offering? And so you approach it that way. Say, hey, Tad, I thought of you for this thing. It's just like Tad said anyway. So thank you for saying that. Okay, so Kara, thank you for your question. Should I moderate? She says, should I moderate also who I follow? So for example, connect with hubs and clients, but can I follow business people for my own learning? Absolutely. Because chances are whoever whatever influencer you're following that you're just interested in learning, even if it's not your industry, it speaks about your personality and it speaks about your interests. And if you happen to like or comment on anything and your network happens to see it, well, I guess maybe the question I have for you is it somehow embarrassing or inappropriate for you to be engaging with that influencer's content? So for example, let's say that uh, I'm married, and let's say I'm engaging with some dating coaches content. Even so, I'm actually quite careful because I do have friends and clients and students who are like dating coaches. And I'm actually quite careful not to like even though I want to like support them. I'm careful not to like and love my stuff because people are like, you're married. Why are you liking and loving dating coaches stuff? I mean, it could be misconstrued the wrong way. Or if you have really strong political views, and well, or if you just have mild political, let's just say though, if you have mild political views, but you don't want to like come out as this or that, you should be careful, especially on LinkedIn, about liking or commenting on that kind of stuff too. So that's an example. But Kara, I mean, for business, following business people or business experts, that's quite appropriate. Your connections probably appreciate some of the stuff that they're seeing that you're liking as well. So okay. Yeah, Erica, thanks for your chats. Yeah. So let's see here. Okay. I want to answer Jenny's question here. Jenny, thank you. And please feel any other questions. We have another, 25 minutes together. So pick my brain on anything, or let's have a discussion on your most your biggest curiosities about LinkedIn. Okay, so Jenny says, how can we know what someone's real interests are when they are seeking to connect? If they send us a request, might they not be interested in our work? So potential clients, should I message them off LinkedIn in case they really do want to connect with me? This is where the niching work with Tad comes in. Like if you've done the niching work of understanding who your potential or your ideal clients are, then you'll get a better and better sense over time. Like I've gotten a really good sense who my ideal clients are and even who my potential clients are. I've had plenty and plenty of corporate people follow me over the years. Vast majority, I mean, it's not even worth it for me to, I guess, market or share content with them anymore. That's why I don't connect in that way, So I hope this is helpful. And Andrea, thank you for asking, what type of people should we connect with if we are a coach or a therapist? Yeah, so ideal client work, exactly. So, if you look at that person's profile, you'll probably get a sense of their values, their stage of development based on your, coaching or therapeutic model. Maybe you'll have a sense of it, and you can decide from there. So let's see. Okay, so Jenny says, how do we get rid of connections that we started off with at the beginning when we don't need them anymore? Are the relationships only usury? It's good, really great question. I love that. So LinkedIn is a professional network, and that's the different feel that it has compared to Facebook or Instagram. Facebook and Instagram, I still am friends with some old friends that are, classmates and family members, extended family, who are never going to be a client or even a hub for me. And they never even like my stuff. I mean, we're friends just because it's weird for me to like disconnect from my cousin or whatever. So if Facebook has a different feel, LinkedIn is much more about, are we professionally relevant to each other? And here's the other thing is that, well, two things. One is even if you remove someone, you can always reconnect with them in the future, or they can always reconnect with you. Number one. Number two is that they will probably never know that you disconnected with them. Now you can ask me, because I am living proof of this experience of having disconnected with 5,000 people. You might say, George, how did it go? It's been a year and a half since you did that. Did anyone email you and go, what the fuck? Not one. not a single person say, okay, no, that's not true. I did have like 2 or 3 people reconnect with me saying, oh, hey, George, I thought we were connected. Just wanted to, out of 5,000. So if that's helpful, Jenny, yeah. And the reality is that you're probably doing them a favor too, because you're like, it's kind of like when, I don't know. I mean, it's like when a relationship has taken its, journey and it's like ready to go. It's like whoever breaks it off, it's like, oh, thank goodness. I thought I was the only one thinking, but again, they will never know. So, yeah. Um, Great. So, okay, Mark says, how do I find relevant people on LinkedIn in the first place? Yeah. So to find relevant people to connect with, LinkedIn allows you to import a bunch of your contacts into LinkedIn. Let's actually take a look here. I haven't imported contacts in a long time, but let me go ahead and try this out here. So when you go to LinkedIn, click on My Network, and then click on Contacts, and there you go. Let's see here. Oh, sync your contacts. Here you go. So when you click this button, it will, let me see what it's doing these days. Basically, it allows you to, well, it asks you about logging into your Gmail and other places. You can also even upload a whole list of email addresses, such as your email list.
AOL. Hey, do you want to upload people from the 80s? Click here.
Yeah, totally. So you can even upload your email list too, or whatever contact list you have. And by uploading them, here's what happens. When they're going into LinkedIn, they will get the suggestion to connect with you. So this could potentially be dangerous if you're worried that someone will like connect with you and then you just don't respond, right? So that could be dangerous. But it's kind of, if you want to like create an email list of people that would be great to eventually connect with, that's a good idea to do so. So you might want to start there. But secondly, go to your, whatever other social media you already have, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, just kind of go there and like, who are my hubs, as Tat says, who are my clients who probably don't mind connecting on LinkedIn, who might have the right network, and connect with the people that you already have a sense of. And then from there, you'll probably naturally start getting some requests. And also when you are looking at people's, when you're looking at the LinkedIn feed, okay, let's just go ahead and give it a try here. Okay, I'm just scrolling through my LinkedIn feed, right? If, I like Joselito, if I want to engage with the stuff, I'll naturally, okay, so here's the thing to do. Go to your LinkedIn, homepage, which is where they show you the content, and get to a piece of content that you genuinely enjoy. And if you genuinely enjoy it, and if you're liking or commenting on it, you should probably just go ahead and click on who else has liked it and get a sense of who these people are, because some of these people might be people you want to connect with. So that's an easy way of doing it. Or if you look at someone's comment and you really find, wow, what an encouraging person, or what a nice person, whatever, you can move your mouse over their name and it gives you a quick sense of who they are, their professional headline, basically. And then if you keep scrolling down, I'll just give you another example here. Just keep going down here. Okay, there we go. Shailaja loves this. So Shailaja is somebody I really, adore. And if she loves something, then I might want to connect with this person too. You see what I mean? So that's how I find people. Well, Caroline and I already connected. We were first degree already, right? So that's an example. Now I want to show you something really cool here. LinkedIn has one of the unique things about LinkedIn is that content stays for a long time, much longer. It has much longer life, what do you call it? Half-life than Facebook or Instagram, or certainly Twitter. Look at this. Caroline posted this 3 weeks ago, and I'm just seeing it now, today, 3 weeks later, with just a little bit of scrolling. Isn't that amazing? And then further down, this is 7 minutes ago, I think it is. Not 7 months ago, 7 minutes ago. But I was scrolling earlier today and I saw something like within the first scroll or two, I saw something from a month ago. So that's beneficial. Like, and all the time I get likes and comments from things that I posted weeks ago. So
Hmm.
please do post content on LinkedIn because it has a long shelf life.
Well, something else I was going to say in terms of this, where do we find hubs? Basically the question. um, this question, I think, comes from a kind of overwhelm. Like there's a spell we put ourselves under. We just start to, well, I don't know how to do it. It would just be so much work, and I don't know. And that's a spell. Here's some homework. If you're trying to figure out hubs, set a timer for half an hour and sit down and just think, who are my hubs? And you'll come up with some. Part of it is we just don't, it's oh my God, my room, it's so messy. I couldn't clean it's too messy. I just can't start. Just set a timer for half an hour. You'd be amazed at what you achieve. So sometimes
How about 10 minutes?
we're totally
10
five,
minutes.
anything. Yeah, and you'll probably go longer than 10 minutes once you
Yeah,
start.
right.
So, and another strategy, this is a great one of, you think, okay, but I want something more specific. Okay, great. So you figure out who are the colleagues who there is some resonance, they do something similar with you, and then you Google them and you find out, have they been interviewed? Have they been on any podcasts?
Yeah, it's
And
really
there
good
you
one.
go. The podcasts who they've been interviewed on, those people may potentially be hubs. So that's one specific with podcasts, but it could be, have they written a guest art post somewhere? Where did they write? Okay, now that could be a hub. You can also just you can do the hub brainstorm in the membership, but also on Facebook. You just say, I'm trying to find more people like this. But this is, of course, where the niche thing comes in. Because if you say, hey, I'm just trying to reach everybody, where do I find them? There's no answers. But if you say, hey, I'm trying to reach this particular group of people and I'm realizing I don't know where to find them, what might the hubs be? And then you can get some categories. And then, you might say, oh, that's a great, like the other day in one of the calls, we were, it was somebody who's doing interior. It was Nan Kruger, mygroovyhome.net. She does interior design work. And Kathy Witham, who's a parenting coach, pointed out, hey, the reason you got this certain gig was because I'd referred you because parents are overwhelmed. Their spaces are so cluttered, so they could really use this. And so I said, oh, well, Nan, that's a whole category of hubs for your interior design work. Maybe, I mean, worth checking out parenting coaches. So then who would be the relevant connections on LinkedIn? Well, other parenting coaches, but also people who run parenting coaching associations and schools would be good connections. So it all goes back to the niche. Do I really know who I'm trying to reach? And then you just start. And then once you've connected with these people, there's enough, you got to feel it out, but you could just say, hey, who else should I talk to? And I promise you, they'll have ideas. Oh, well, yeah, I love your work. Oh, have you talked to this person? No, who the hell are they? I never heard about them. Oh, yeah, you got to talk to them. And then when you send them a message, you say, hey, I was just talking with Tad Hargrave, and he said, we should connect about this thing. And I don't know if it's fit. You're really busy, but you send a first message like that. So anyway, those are some just tactical thoughts on approaching hubs.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Um, let's see here. Another question here. Jenny wrote, what kind of content is best for LinkedIn? Like, do we just have to
Mm.
suss out what our connection is like, or is there a general trend? It's a great question. And of course, the suggestion you have about kind of getting a sense of um, what your connection is like is a good idea, especially on LinkedIn, where it's easy to see what they like, because you can literally go to their profile. And I want to show you again. I want to show you again. And you could see that I wasn't even connected to Tad yet, and still I could see what he likes, right? So let's see here. I'm gonna go to, yeah, I'm gonna go to, but I think it has to be a second degree connection to be able to see what they like. A third degree, I don't think you can see what they like, but I'll just go to like Caroline, for example. And if you go to someone's profile and you scroll down to activity, right, scroll down to activity, click on see all activity, and then it'll default to all activity here. And if you scroll down, just look for likes, loves, supports, whatever, and so it's like, okay, so Caroline loves, something about animal welfare, that kind of values, great. And then I'm going to keep scrolling. Caroline loves this. Are you consuming, again, sort of like, well, there's a bee here. But it's not animal related. I guess it's about conscious consumption of content. Yeah, cool. So yeah, this is just a sense of how quickly you can get some ideas, essentially. Like if one of your ideal clients or ideal connections, ideal hubs loves things, then you can ask yourself, what's my version of this piece of content? What's my version of it? If I were to write something about this topic, what would I write? Right? Okay. So, but the second thing I want to recommend is a Carousel Post. I've been doing this for the past at least 6 months on LinkedIn, and it's been great. It's been my most successful type of content thus far. And so how to create a carousel post on LinkedIn. I put the link in the chat below, so you can Google this. Plenty of people have written in articles about this, not just me. So it doesn't matter where you find it. But basically, it's quite simple. You basically create a series of images and download it as PDF. I do this. Whoops, where am I? Okay, you can still see my screen, right? Okay, I'm on Canva, and you could see what I do is on Canva, I basically create a whole series of images, basically a series of images. I number them on the top right, and it's basically an article I cut and paste as images, and then I download it as PDF print. I download that, and then I go to LinkedIn. I go to the LinkedIn homepage where I can post something. I click on Start a Post, and then I click this icon, Add a Document. And that Add a Document allows me to upload the PDF, and it'll show up as a carousel post. So in terms of format, Jenny, I really am loving that these days. So and links are always welcome on LinkedIn as well. Links to your outside to your any page on your site, or YouTube video, or Medium article, whatever, So hope that helps.
Well, and George, just before we leap into the next question, is you also, I just love to give some space for you to do a shameless plug, because I know you teach people about LinkedIn. You have extended courses. What do you have, like, if people want to work with you, if people want to explore getting your help around that, where do they go?
Thanks. I'll spend 30 seconds on it. If you go to georgecow.com/LinkedIn, that's my LinkedIn full course, kind of go into all the details of everything, the step-by-step, checklist, like if you had 15 minutes, do this, that kind of thing. So, but that's all I want to say.
But who is that course for? Who would that be? Who's the best fit for that?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. It's for people who, it's for self-employed people, basically. People who want to grow a business, people who, So people like us who are using LinkedIn not for getting a job, not for recruiting, for corporate sales, but for connecting, being visible with your content. LinkedIn has become more and more known as a content platform, not just like when it first started, it was basically everyone thought of it as like a resume database.
Yeah.
But that's long gone. I mean, ever since I would say the middle of last decade, it really shot off as just a place where people go and consume some interesting news about their industry or just interesting things. And I want to thank Erica here for chatting that. She experimented with posting 21 days of content of mini art readings on LinkedIn, and it boosted engagement. That's awesome. Yeah. So you see, LinkedIn is all kinds of content. A lot of spiritual content these days, a lot of nature-based content, a lot of mental health, huge mental health, personal development. So chances are whatever it is that you help people with, it's welcome on LinkedIn. Okay, so Kara, thank you for your question. On Facebook, if you start posting about a topic like parenting, you start seeing all these ads and posts from parenting coaches. Yes, because Facebook's algorithm knows, they notice the keywords of what you post. And then of course they will show you ads with those keywords as well. How do you know the difference between collaboration versus competition when thinking who to connect with in the same field? Great question. Tad, do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. I would just go to the membership, type in the word competition. There's a few videos from me where I talk about it
Awesome.
fairly in depth. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, this is a tough one because, Kara, I totally get you. Like, I always think in terms of collaboration, but many of the people I'm trying to collaborate with don't think in that way, and I don't hear back from them. I'm like, we have, it's like we have the same audience,
Yeah.
but they're barely intersected. Let's help each other, and then people are like, oh, I don't want to promote someone who's just like me. Come on, it's unfortunate that most people don't think like Tad and I.
Yeah.
But there are people who do, and actually, Kara, this is a good kind of litmus test. If you see one of your quote unquote competitors, by the way, I like to use the term niche mates instead of competitors. If you see one of your niche mates, promote or share the content or offerings from somebody in your industry, a niche mate that might be, that person is obviously collaboration minded and
Right.
more open-hearted, and see the abundance of the fact that when people collaborate, like the best collaborator for us is the person who is like our doppelganger.
Mm.
Like that's the best collaborator because they've already built an audience. That's exactly the people we're in. And by the way, we have too. So we should be interviewing each other all the time, or at least once a year, promote each other, interview each other, because then we just grow each other's audiences. And I like to say, there are always people in my audience who, even though they might like my content every now and then, for whatever reason, it's not the right fit to buy my stuff or to join my things, but it's perfect for Tad.
Totally.
That's why, and same thing with Tad as well. So it's like we all help each other and we all grow, and it's good feelings all around.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be an expert in LinkedIn. I don't want to do all this. And the fact that George has, it's just sweet mercy to me that I don't have to do that. Somebody else has already figured this out. Thank
Totally.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? I'm sure I've missed something. I'm scrolling up, but please feel free at
Yeah.
this point.
You can
There's a
click
few minutes left.
yeah, you can click the raise hand button if you have a
Yes.
question. But also, I'd love to actually take this moment to introduce you. I don't know if you've met Rebecca Van Dam. She's been helping me with my
Yeah.
Instagram, and I've just had a purely wonderful, positive experience. It's made my Instagram just so easy. And
Amazing.
yeah, so Rebecca, I'm wondering
Awesome.
if you have any comments or questions for George as a sort of professional in the social media world, or anything you'd like to say. Mostly, I'd love for you just to meet each other. But
Yeah. Thank you so
Hi,
much.
George.
Hey,
Nice to meet you.
good to see you.
Good to see you too. I took your Instagram workshop as
Yeah,
well.
and I feel like I've seen your content and things like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I love your stuff. And I just want to say that I agree about the niche mate thing. I mean, I think you and Tad are niche mates of mine, and definitely with Tad, it's been nothing but helpful for us to help each other. And I don't feel like we step on each other's toes. I think we have totally different approaches. I think we're completely different people. Our niche is almost exactly the same, but we're filling niches for our niche. Like we hit different points.
Yeah.
So I
And
agree with the collaboration thing. It's only helpful.
yeah, and the other thing I have to say is, again, this is for everybody here. Like the person who has bought something from your niche mate is more likely than the average person to buy something from you as well. It's not like it's not like we're selling toilet paper here. But even toilet paper, I like to try different ones. You know what I mean? We're all, none of us are commodities. It's like this is not the only. If someone buys Tad's niching course, they're more likely to buy another niching course too, to check out, because they're interested in that topic. And so anyway, yeah. So
And
yeah,
I think people forget that, Tad says this a little bit differently than me, but I really think, we think we're selling what we're saying, that what the points are bullet points are what, and we're not. We're selling who we are.
yeah.
And you don't just have one friend. You have you have different people in your life. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And it's like, if you like, jazz, you're not going to just only listen to one jazz artist. Come on.
true. That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. And it's also let's say you find somebody who's completely your doppelganger, you do identical things. What an opportunity for a conversation to say, wow, we do such identical things. And maybe this is a chance for us to each specialize. And are there any clients you don't like working with? Oh, yeah, man, these people, but those are my favorite clients. What do you mean you don't like those clients? You may find that there's actually an opportunity there for the whole ecosystem to become more diverse and richer rather than trying to crush them so that you can get more monoculture of you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, and it's actually kind of fun sometimes to play off each other's stuff. Like it's okay to disagree with your niche mates. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. It's like we all know we love each other, and it's okay to like have your, well, Tad, you'd say this brilliantly. You know, a lot of my students and clients say, "Oh yeah, Tad's point of view." I'm because I promote it too. I'm like, point of view. You know what I mean? Like it's you need that. You need it's like, you know, your point of view is ideal for somebody who is reading or watching your stuff at that point, that exact moment in their life. The next month they may they may
Yeah.
be, you know, have evolved into needing something else, you know.
I also think that social media is a really conversational space. So it's really good to put your point of view out there and then have someone be like, I don't know about that. And then like your most controversial thoughts
Oh yeah,
are the
yeah,
ones that spark the most conversation.
totally. Yeah, yeah, 100%. But yeah,
Yeah.
so anyway, I feel like I hope that this has given you all some hope about using LinkedIn. Just, you know, if you just have a takeaway, like one is don't feel you need to connect with everybody anymore. Just be much more selective going forward about who you're connecting with LinkedIn. Two, use LinkedIn for net carrying. Like really try, like if you're going to show up on LinkedIn even once a month, I'll just say this and we can end here. If you show up on LinkedIn once a month, what should you do? One, of course, look at who's trying to connect with you. Go to your network tab and see whose requests are coming in, and see if you want to, you know, reply to anybody or connect with a, great, you know, now you're connected with a new hub or a new potential client, and then message them right away. Like if you do connect with someone, message them, say, hey, Tad, because otherwise it'll just say, you know, Tad connect with you. That's it. So it just feels better to say, hey, Tad, so great. I'm so glad we're finally connected here, and looking forward to seeing your stuff, and then go to their profile. In fact, it's a nobody does this, and it's so thoughtful when the occasional person does. Tad, you know, on your profile, I saw that you mentioned this. I am really into that. I didn't know that you were into that because or Tad, you mentioned this. I have a question about that. Like, what do you mean by that? Because I want to understand this better and be able to, you know, refer better people to you, that kind of thing. Like almost nobody does this. So when you connect, go to their profile, message them with one thing that you resonate. Okay, so that's part of the once a month checklist. And then finally, before you leave LinkedIn, you know, do the connection thing first. Before you leave LinkedIn, make a post. Try to make a post of something that is a tip or a story that has some kind of teaching moment, maybe from one of your recent clients. Don't mention any names, or from your own life. Simple as that, you know. Knowing that LinkedIn content has a long shelf life, so even once a month is enough.
Amen. Amen. I asked people to put in some of their favorite takeaways. They've been coming in. Yeah, George, thank you so much. I think my biggest takeaway was that I didn't realize it about their algorithm, and that it's actually better to have a very small, tight group of people you're following, and that it's looking at the interactions and how many, you know, are you responding to them? Are they responding to you? And that I didn't know. And so that's actually such a relief. Oh my God, that's such a relief to just, right, we can minimize the number of people. It was when I saw you drop it from like 4,700 to 200 as amazing. Yeah, that's
I
great.
could barely keep up with 200 people. You know what I mean?
Oh, completely. Well, thank you so much, George, for making the time. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Hopefully this was useful. And of course, George also has courses on Instagram, on Facebook ads. On,
I like to dabble with everything.
Time management. He did, but genuinely, his courses on a bunch of things I don't talk about. So I just recommend you going to his website and perusing it because there's a bunch of great stuff there. And so thank you very much. I'm sure you got a lot going on today, George. So I'll let you go and let
Thank
everyone
you
else go.
guys. Really appreciate it. Yeah,
Take
good
care.
to meet you all.